Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us this fine, beautiful morning. And I want to start because I want to respect everyone's time. So, again, thank you and welcome. I want to make sure everybody is on mute before we start. So, if you haven't muted yourself, please do so. So today, I also, before we start, I want to say thank you to everyone who is here today joining us, especially CBIA, the Galicki Family Foundation, Hartford Public Schools, Pratt and Whitney, Raytheon, Travelers, and all of our employer partners and students. Again, welcome and thank you. We are posting the agenda in the chat box. So please, I emailed it to everyone yesterday and this morning, but it will be in the chat box, so you can open it up. And I also want to ask you that if you have any questions for any of our speakers, please put it in the chat box, and we will get to those questions during our Q&A session, roundtable discussion that will commence at 9:30. So we're asking for you to stay for that extra half an hour if you're available to get your questions answered. All right. So at this time, I want to present and pass over the baton to our ReadyCT Executive Director, Shannon Marimon.
Thank you, Betsy. So I just want to echo Betsy's welcome, and it's a little bit of a gray morning, but we'll take it, especially given all the snow we've had recently. And just really grateful for everybody turning out. We had a really great response to the meeting, and for those who are returning to this event, you know, in the past we've had it in person, and it takes on a very different kind of experience, but we are adapting to this new world. And so this has been a learning curve for us to kind of be able to bring together such a large group of people by way of Zoom. And so we appreciate patience. I know the Eventbrite and the Zoom kind of integration isn't always perfect. So thankfully, it looks like we've got most of our registrants in the room so far. So we're really excited to go through a presentation today to talk about the internship program opportunity that we have available for Hartford Public School students. I'm going to share a PowerPoint deck for a bit, and then we're going to try to kind of come off the deck so that we can be more conversational in our Brady Bunch setting. So let me just share my screen really quick. So can everybody see that?
Yes.
Great. So our goal for today is to introduce our collaborators, the collaborators. This entire offering and opportunity for students in Hartford Public Schools would not be possible if it were not for all of those who invest in both resources, financial resources, human capital resources, as well as time and commitment and energy to supporting the students. We work very closely with a number of employers in the community, and we are looking through this event specifically and other engagement opportunities to bring in even more employers into the experience. We're going to provide an overview of the work-based learning program as we have designed it in partnership with Hartford Public Schools, so that we can share a little bit about how we prepare students in order to have a positive experience when they are placed in their internship site. And then we want to, most importantly, give you direct insight and perspective from students and employers who have lived this. And that, I think, is the most powerful thing that we can provide. So we have an agenda to get us through the first hour, but as Betsy said, we will be staying on for another half hour to go over a couple more kind of technical aspects of the program, especially thinking about how do you adapt an internship in these current times? How do you think about maybe a remote or hybrid version of the internship? And we're also going to give you some more insights and perspectives on different models for the internship experience. So if you can stay on for that half hour, that would be great. And then we will be recording. So for those who can't stay on, or if you want to pass this on to anyone who couldn't be here today, we will make that available available. No. So just a few quick words about ReadyCT. We are a 501c3. We've been in Connecticut for about a decade now, and our work is focused primarily on the K-12 space. And we were established as an organization that looked at narrowing the achievement and opportunity gaps for students in our K-12 system. We have we've more recently kind of focused our efforts on career readiness and ensuring that we are preparing students for the world of work. And we're also doing a lot of work on the policy side to ensure that we are better aligning our educational system with the workforce needs. So making sure that the two sides are speaking to each other. And I think what we've discovered along the way that there's oftentimes just a communication or translation breakdown where the education system is doing one thing, the workforce side is needing something else, and they're not necessarily being responsive. And so I think even in the last 5 years, we've seen a big shift in that narrative. We've seen a lot more effort in terms of collaboration, cross-sector collaboration, to ensure that students are set up for success. And then it's ultimately also a benefit to employers and to the greater economy and community of the state. Our work does fall along the lines of policy work as well as direct programming, which is what we're going to get into today. And then in addition, we do a lot of best practices work where we bring people, educators and other stakeholders together to learn. And we also bring a lot of public attention to key educational issues that are happening so that we can be responsive to it. And then today, like I said, we'll be getting more deep into our career pathway programming. At this point, I do want to, I'm going to take it off the screen in just a second, but we are an affiliate of the Connecticut Business and Industry Association, CBIA. That partnership has been in place since 2017, and it's been getting even further defined and stronger over the last 3 years. And Chris DiPentima is the new president and CEO as of this past August 2020, and could not be a better partner in this work. He very much, we work with CBIA and the team there to identify opportunities for thinking of employers who are interested or might benefit from the internship program or other program offerings that we provide, and we are constantly in dialogue and exchange with them to make that happen. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a minute and turn it over to Chris to say a few words.
I think the picture on the screen is better than the live picture, Shannon. So people will probably be a little depressed. And you and I did the same thing when Betsy said it's a beautiful morning. We both looked out the window. And we're like, oh, really? But maybe Betsy didn't get as much snow as you and I did. But thanks for having me, everyone. Good morning. I'm really happy to be here. As Shannon mentioned, I joined CBIA and the affiliate ReadyCT in Concept in August. And nothing has energized me more every morning than the affiliation with ReadyCT and our other affiliate Concept. It's just been so exciting to see how we could leverage this further to benefit both, the business community clearly, which is what the stakeholders that we all have in common, but the state as a whole, and really work to make the education system better, the workforce development and pipeline better, and our state and businesses better. And so as Shannon remarked, she's not only lucky to have me, I'm more lucky to have her and ReadyCT and Cheryl and the rest of the group. It's an awesome affiliation, and I hope we can continue to grow and grow and grow it. I know we will. For those of you who don't know me, I spent the last 20 years in the private sector here in Connecticut. First 16 of those years owning a family manufacturing firm in Middletown, and then I sold that firm and stayed on. And so I continued to lead manufacturing, not only here in Connecticut, but in other parts of the country and in parts of Europe. So for those business leaders and owners on the screen here, I have endured the pain of the pipeline and workforce development. In manufacturing sector, we had 13,000 open jobs heading into the pandemic that we just could not fill. And it wasn't for a lack of effort or desire. It was all the great things that Shannon and the team are working on, which is the right education system to develop the pipeline, the right pathways and programs, internship programs, which obviously you'll focus a lot on today, apprenticeships, externships. And so I've gone through the trials and tribulations that most of you have gone through. And then since joining the affiliate in August, I've gotten to learn a lot about other industries, IT, financial services, insurance sector, biopharma, many of the industries that you all work in, and understand that it wasn't just a manufacturing issue. It is an issue that we have here in Connecticut. And quite honestly, as I mentioned, running organizations outside of Connecticut, it's an issue we have across the world. We just don't have, areas don't have great, robust pipeline plans and workforce development plans. So that is one of the things that energizes me. It's become a passion of mine. I've sat on a lot of boards to help address the workforce issues in Connecticut. It's why I'm so happy to be a partner with Shannon and the ReadyCT team, because she's so much smarter than me on this, and together we can help solve the issue. As you can tell, I have a real passion around the pipeline and workforce development. I'm happy to say, because of that and because of our collaboration with Shannon, CBIA launched 11 policy priorities this year. A third of them are around workforce development, a third of our priorities. So we are really trying to walk the talk, if you will, and we've really grasped on to what Shannon has educated us about, no pun intended there, but really educated us about on where the issues are, and really latched on to the Governor's Workforce Council, who maybe, some of you are aware.
Oh, Chris, I think you just went on mute.
I saw that. I saw a screen come up. Maybe I went on for too long. Sorry about that. I will finish up though. But no, so we really are working on priorities to change it, as we've called it, rebuild Connecticut, rebuild a reimagined Connecticut. Shannon talked about reimagining the education system. We talk about reimagining everything we do in Connecticut so that we can resurge out of this pandemic stronger and better than we were going into it, and return Connecticut back to where we should be, a leader in the country, a leader in the world in everything. We have the greatest businesses in the world. We have the greatest workforce in the world. We need to have the greatest education system, the greatest pipeline in order to maintain that status, and really the greatest economy. Those all will drive a great economy. So I'm really excited. The Pathway program, internships, is something I have a lot of experience with. If you all want to reach out to me at any given time, Cheryl or Shannon or the ReadyCT team will be happy to share my mobile phone with you, and you can text me, call me, email me 24/7. I have a lot of experience having struggled through developing the workforce. I have a lot of experience with internships. I have a lot of experience with trying to develop career pathways in our comprehensive school systems, externships and apprenticeship programs in my former life, and how some have worked and how some haven't. But the program that ReadyCT has is really phenomenal, and it's one that we need to scale up across Connecticut. So I'm happy to be here. Shannon, I'll stop ranting any longer and listen to the rest of what's going on here. So thanks for having me.
Thank you, Chris. That was perfect. And I think that I hope that illustrated how strong our partnership is, and that we really are working hand in glove to strategically think about how this is a reciprocal exchange with students, educators, and also the business community, and that they're mutually reinforcing. I mean, there's a lot we need to learn from each other. And for some of you who have been involved with the Governor's Workforce Council, especially the Work-Based Learning Committee, which Dave Smith, who will be speaking later, can speak personally to, there was a lot of aha moments that happened where we were discovering, again, that translation issue, and then also seeing how much there was opportunity to really bring more of these programs into the space and make sure that students are really ultimately set up for success. So with that, I'm going to go over the career pathway model that we are supporting in partnership with Hartford Public Schools. Kate Hayden is on the call, who is, and I'm trying to make this as like living room conversational as possible, even though we're all in these little tiles. But Kate Hayden, it could not be, again, more of a resource and a partner in this work. She is our Connecticut liaison from Naf, which is the model framework that we support for our career pathway work. Kate, do you want to say a quick hello? Not to put you on the spot. Oh, you're on mute.
Good morning, everybody. It's so good to see so many wonderful faces, so many that I I'm familiar with, but some that I want to get to know a little bit better. Thank you for inviting me.
Thanks, Kate. So I'm going to share my screen again. And this is a overview of the, and I'm not sure, are you all seeing this little bar at the top? I don't know. Oh, there it goes. If I don't touch it, it goes away. Okay, so the Naf Educational Design, and Kate is the foremost expert on this and can provide any answers to questions folks might have as we go through the presentation. But basically, it's composed of 4 key elements, and this is a career pathway design. It's a framework that runs from grades 9 through 12. It's at the high school level. Although we start early, we start recruiting and exposing students to these opportunities definitely by middle school, but we're trying to even start with elementary school. Again, you know, what we keep saying as an organization is that you don't know what you don't know. If you've never been exposed to a career opportunity or an industry area, how are you ever going to know that that's within your reach as a possible path or opportunity for you? So the design of NAF is very much around just a discipline and a commitment to ensuring students have this very high quality experience, starting especially in grade 9 and running through the rest of high school. The structure is the key part, but then within that structure, the other 3 core elements are the idea of an integrated industry-informed curriculum. So when we have a pathway that is focused on a particular career theme, like engineering and green technology or insurance and financial services, we're going to make sure that the curriculum is informed by the business community in those areas. That happens through both direct interactions with the school and the educators within the system, but it's also through the conduit of the industry advisory board, which is the 3rd key component. So each pathway has a dedicated industry advisory board. All of our industry advisory board chairs are on the call. You'll be hearing from 2 of them, and they really do take this role very seriously and think of themselves as true partners with that particular school and pathway, and making sure that they're providing input into the curriculum, providing input into different program experiences that students have access to. And then the last component is really around work-based learning, which is this idea of kind of a continuum of experiences that students will have that will get them increasingly connected to the world of work. So it starts out with more exposure and then builds over time into more direct experience and application of their learning. And really that ultimately culminates in the internship experience, which it doesn't end there. You know, that's just, again, a starting point to what comes next. But the internship is the most kind of quintessential experience for high quality work-based learning. And we want to make sure students, again, have a very positive experience, as do the employers. So the who we've already spoken to quite a bit, which are all of our collaborators, as well as all the other employer and community-based organization partners that start to take part in this program. That, again, has been kind of snowballing over the last couple of years. I think we've really activated some new community-based organization partners. Many of those are on this call right now, working really closely with Makerspace CT, Goodwin University, as Nantucket University. I'm probably going to miss somebody, but we're very much partnering with other organizations in the area to make sure we're connecting students to the opportunities those programs offer, so that that are complementary to the student's learning experience. The themed pathway I just spoke to is supported by that industry advisory board and the curriculum piece, as well as the work-based learning experiences. And there are 11 of these pathways actually in the greater Hartford area. Some of those have been in existence for quite some time, 3 of which we'll be speaking to directly. And then a number are pending and just starting to launch. And so it's really exciting to see this build within the greater Hartford area. And as Chris said, we think that this is a model we can continue to build from and potentially see if other parts of the state are interested in replicating it. So the 3 schools we're going to be speaking about today are all in Hartford, in the Hartford Public School System. We work as ReadyCT with all 3 of them very closely with their specific career-themed pathways. This slide deck will be shared afterwards, so you don't have to remember all this information. But basically, we work with Hartford Public High School, that's HPHS, which has an engineering and green technology pathway. It's been in existence since 2008, and it is supported by Raytheon Technologies, formerly UTC, and very much a close partnership also with Pratt & Whitney, which is a Raytheon subsidiary. And so we've been really excited to be there for so long. Also had this amazing opportunity to partner with the Golicky Family Foundation a few years ago to start providing subsidies for the internship experience. So we actually have the ability to provide the full pay for the student for a 120-hour internship over the summer. So that's an opportunity that we definitely want to make available to up to 100 students in this coming summer. And again, aligned with the theme of engineering, green technology, as well as kind of broader STEM related internship experiences. At Weaver High School, the focus is on insurance and financial services. It's been supported by Travelers since 2010. And they have had a lot of success with internships as well. We have an ambitious goal there of 70 internships for this coming summer. And just a note about Weaver and Pathways, while we don't have the confirmed subsidy to cover the cost for the internship, we would be working with the employer to figure out how much the employer would be able to contribute to cover the cost of paying the intern, because these are paid internships. However, there is oftentimes a subsidy that kicks in just around June from the Hartford Student Internship Program. The timing's a little off because they don't usually get their funding confirmed until June, but we've had year in and year out it work out that they've come through, and then we're able to offset the costs of the internship payments through the grant that is provided through that program. So it's a little bit of a hurry up and wait kind of situation where we want to partner employers with students in these pathways, but then we would kind of have to talk through some of the logistics around the payment piece. So Weaver High School on insurance and financial services, and then Pathways Academy for Technology and Design is actually a Hartford Public Schools magnet school. And it's a wall-to-wall NAF Academy. So every student in the school is part of the NAF experience. And they, again, have had a lot of experience. They are supported by Travelers and have had a lot of experience with placing student internships. And we have a goal of 70 internships for this coming summer. So with that, I'm going to stop talking about the model itself and the programs, but I hope I've been able to give a kind of a flavor of the program. Betsy is actually going to come back and talk more about the dedicated student supports that she provides alongside all of her counterparts at the other schools. And so that'll come at the end of the presentation. But now I'm going to be turning over to one of our key partners at Hartford Public Schools, Justin Taylor. Like I said, this is a team effort. We all have to work together to make this possible and make sure we're dotting all our I's, crossing all our T's in terms of student safety and success. But it's also it's really exciting work. And I think that that's shared as a sentiment on the Hartford Public Schools side. And they've made a lot of commitment recently to personalize pathways for students in their school system. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Justin to say a few remarks. And Justin, do you want me to leave it up or do you want to go back to the tiles?
Good morning, Shannon. Thank you. I think I have one slide. I'm not sure if it made it to this deck. Yep, right there we go. Perfect. Thanks a lot, Shannon. I appreciate it. And good morning, everyone. So nice to join all of you this morning, and thanks for being here. So as Shannon said, my name is Justin Taylor. I'm the Assistant Director of Educational Initiatives and Innovation with Hartford Public Schools. And I'm fortunately joined today by my very close colleague, Dr. Lola Garcia Blocker. She originally had a commitment and has been able, I guess, to move her schedule around a little bit. So she's on the call with me. She is our Executive Director of Post-Secondary Success and Alternative Programming. She and I work very closely together on our college and career pathway work, as well as our freshman academy work in designing personalized pathways for students who are overage and undercredited. So I'm excited to share the work that we are doing around career pathways at our three comprehensive high schools, Buckley, Hartford Public, and Weaver. In the last 14 to 16 months, we've been really focused on redesigning the high school experience for students in each of those schools. creating a freshman academy for ninth graders, which is a nice transition from the 8th to 9th grade year, and then creating these career pathways. We assembled a team as a task force in order to develop what we call our career pathway core tenets, which you see in front of you on the screen today. I'm going to focus on just a couple of these core tenets, which I think is most relevant to this group. The first would be under teaching and learning, what we're describing as industry recognized stackable credentials and advisory boards. And then under family and community partnerships, our work-based learning experiences. So these core tenets are non-negotiable experiences in grades 10 through 12. And so every school in our comprehensive high schools has to provide students with these experiences in order to constitute the career pathway model. So as we talk about industry recognized stackable credentials and advisory boards, we are designing currently the second career pathway in each of the comprehensive high schools. The first one we stood up this year, and we're making sure that each of these pathways has an advisory board represented by industry professionals, higher ed partners, some folks who are on staff in the school. We're really using the Naf model and working very closely with Hayden in order to establish those advisory boards. And I assume we'll probably be reaching out to some of you, depending on your particular industries, if they align to the career pathways at each of the comprehensive high schools. In addition to that, we're using the advisory boards to help determine what sorts of industry recognized or stackable credentials are best to give our students exposure to. We know that many of our students choose not to go to college. We want them to make that choice and make it an informed choice. So if they're choosing not to go to college, we want them to have an industry recognized credential that they can use and immediately turn into employment. And so each of our career pathways will offer students at least one, and hopefully in some cases more than one, opportunity to earn an industry recognized credential by the time they graduate from high school. We are also really mindful of the importance of work-based learning experiences throughout students' high school careers. This is not something that all students have had access to equitably across the district. We know, for example, in Hartford Public High School, there's been a pretty robust internship experience and opportunities for students, but in some of the other schools, that hasn't been the case. And so we're really trying to bring equity across our three schools to ensure that all students have access to not only internships, but also a continuum of work-based learning experiences. Again, really grateful to Kate Hayden and Naf for helping us to organize what that continuum looks like. We are thinking about experiences in grades 10, 11, and 12 that prepare students ultimately for the opportunity to have an internship in grade 12. The goal is to give all students the opportunity to have one as part of perhaps a capstone experience, which is sort of the culminating experience that students are required to have in order to graduate from high school. And we are working really closely with ReadyCT and grateful for their work as well to create these work-based learning experiences for students. So for all of you on the call, we look forward to continuing to partner not only with ReadyCT, but all of you to help us engage students in a continuum of work-based learning. And that commitment can look as simple as just coming in, perhaps even virtually, as a guest speaker for one of our pathways, serving as a mentor, helping students build their network, having mock interviews with students, supporting resume writing, job shadows, et cetera, all the way up to a full internship experience. So we're really excited about this work. Dr. Garcia-Blocker and I have really been working tirelessly in order to get these programs up and running, and look forward to having 2 career pathways at each of our comprehensive high schools in place by the next school year. So I know that Dr. Garcia-Blocker is on the call, and I will sort of turn it over to her if she has anything that she wants to add or anything that I may have missed, or at the very least, she can just introduce herself again so that you can put a face to a name.
Thank you, Justin. You said everything perfectly. And I know you had at 5 minutes. So we're at the 5 minutes. Thank you, everyone.
So glad to see you, Dr. Garcia-Blocker. I'm glad you were able to make it. And thank you, Justin. That was terrific. And again, just a demonstration of the partnership and coordination that we're constantly aiming to achieve. And, it's always a work in progress, but I think we have committed partners that are always looking to continuously improve and make better experiences for students. So I'm going to turn it over to Betsy to introduce our panelists who are going to talk about the actual experience itself. So Betsy, do you want me to leave this up or do you want to?
You can leave it up while I'm talking, and then
Okay,
you can take it down when I introduce Kimberly. So thank you, Justin. Thank you, Dr. Garcia Blocker, Chris, and Shannon. And I just want to say, when I said it was a beautiful day, it's because I always start off my day positive, and it is a beautiful day because I'm sharing what we do and what I love with all of you guys. Okay, so I will introduce now Miss Kimberly Wills. She is the Laboratory Director and CEO of New England Bioassay, and she was a new employer with us this past summer. And she's going to talk about her experience as a new employer coming in and providing an internship during COVID. So, Kimberly?
All right. You guys can hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for having me speak about the internship program this morning. This is a great program that ReadyCT organizes. I thought I would start out by talking a little bit about my company, New England Bioassay. We're also known as NEB. We are a small woman-owned environmental lab with a specialization in aquatic sediment and soil toxicity testing. And we're located here in Manchester, Connecticut. I've been the manager of the lab for over 10 years now, but just recently acquired ownership of the company in February 2020. Little did anyone know at that point that in 6 weeks after taking ownership that a pandemic was looming. Just like all of the employers on this call, we had to adapt and adjust the way we did things to keep our employees safe. Once the fog lifted on many of the unknowns of the pandemic, we realized that we were an essential business and that our clients still needed us to provide them with testing services. In the summertime, NEB is a very busy place, and we typically hire interns for the summer. And we did have some reservations about bringing on more staff during the pandemic, but we felt we would be able to take on an intern safely. How I got connected to ReadyCT is I was on a call with my business bank, KeyBank, and I mentioned that I was looking to hire summer interns, and she immediately jumped in and made a comment. I need to connect you to this great internship program, ReadyCT. And after that, she connected me with Betsy, and she told me about the program. And so once Betsy and I connected, the program sounded wonderful. High school students eager to get work-based experience, and Betsy helps connect the students with employers that will be a good fit for their interests. And I thought this would be a great way to get involved with the community and help mentor an intern. I had a Zoom meeting with our prospective candidate that was selected for a good fit for our company, and she was excited to have this opportunity and couldn't wait to start. Some of the safety measures we had in place even before she started was daily temperature checks, hand sanitizer when you enter the building. No visitors were allowed unless they were scheduled ahead of time. In our lab, as I said before, it's kind of a busy place. We have couriers coming in and out of the lab, but we had our couriers now dropping off samples on our loading dock to reduce traffic and people in the lab. We gave our intern her own desk and space so she could have a mask break if she needed and a place to eat and drink because that was only allowed at your desk. Our intern was given a training log to keep progress of her training, and she worked side by side with our lab techs. And we knew she wouldn't be able to learn everything in 6 weeks, so we narrowed down what we would have her focus on. But by the end of the 6 weeks, she became a productive member of our team, and she was able to know where to go and where to jump in to perform her lab duties she'd been trained on. I was a little hesitant at first because I wasn't sure what to expect from a high school student, but after our first year experience, we're so happy that we decided to be a part of this internship program, and we're looking forward to hosting again this summer.
Thank you, Kimberly. Next, I am actually going to introduce one of our senior interns, Miss Brahelia Kenton. She is currently a senior at Hartford High. And Brahelia is going to be talking about her experience in our internship program and how it's helping her develop her skills and for her future career goals. Brahelia?
Hi everyone, I'm Brahelia Kenton and I'm a senior at Hartford Public High School. I've been a part of the ReadyCT program since my junior year, and so far I've gotten 3 internships. My first was with KeyBank. I learned about the retail and the corporate side of banking. I got the chance to shadow KeyBank employees at a retail branch in Hartford, and also learned about just workplace etiquette and how to network. So it was a great experience. My second internship was last summer with Connecticut Public Affairs Network. I was a marketing intern. Most of my job was to promote different events to the public, so I really enjoyed that. This was a remote internship. It was my first time working remotely, so I wasn't really sure what to expect. But I would say that the only downside is that I was kind of limited in some stuff. So, for example, my supervisor, she was showing me how to use Adobe Photoshop. And since I wasn't there in person with her, I wasn't able to use it, but I still learned a lot. And I think that the positives outweigh the negatives because I was at home, so I was more comfortable. I could work a lot better. I didn't have to worry about getting myself or my family sick because I didn't have to leave my home and go out to work. And it also allowed a lot of flexibility because during the summer, I was also doing a college course for the program at UConn. So during the mornings, I would complete my class and then work later on in the day because I was working from home. So it was a great experience. And last fall, I completed a 5-week CAD readiness program with Makerspace CT. So this was an introduction to computer-aided design, and I really enjoyed it. I, along with other students in the program, were interested in different work opportunities at Makerspace. So they came up with the CAD plus internship, which I'm now part of. So as an intern at Makerspace now, I'm working with 3 other interns to design a 3D model of the entire workshop. So the walls, the doors, everything, and then all the machines inside of the workshop. And that has been really fun so far. I was first interested in this, in the CAD internship because I'm enrolling in college as a civil engineering major, and computer-aided design is a big part of engineering. So I thought that by doing this internship, I kind of have a leg up during my undergrad years, and I think that I really enjoyed it, and being a part of this internship has really shown me that this is something I could see myself doing as a future career. I got into civil engineering last summer because being a part of this program has shown me to different, has introduced me to different work fields. So I started doing more research. I've always been interested in construction, so from there I got into civil engineering. So that's what I'll be pursuing in college. I have not yet decided on where I'll be going to college. I applied to 2 schools in state and a few other out of state, but I've not decided where I'll be going yet. But so far, my experience with ReadyCT has been amazing. I've learned so much, and I know that whatever I learn will go with me wherever I go in life.
Thank you, Brahelia. Next, I want to introduce Mr. Kevin Sanwaru. Kevin is also a senior at Hartford Public High School, and he's going to talk about his different internship experiences as well. Kevin?
Can everyone hear me well? Okay, good morning, everyone. My name is Kevin Sanwaru. I am a senior at Hartford Public High School. I would like to talk about my internships with ReadyCT and how they developed my personality and as a person in general. At first, with my good grades, I had the capability of taking opportunities and trying something new. Before, I was very shy and timid. I often decline opportunities just because I didn't believe I was capable of doing it. But with ReadyCT, They have been able to comfort me and to be able to accept these opportunities and try something new. An example of this is P Labs, Pathways, Entrepreneurial Labs. I took this internship at Pathways. With Mr. Griffin. We worked in different core areas, including digital media, web IT, and advanced manufacturing. I was working in advanced manufacturing core. What we did was we worked on machines and we had the opportunity to work with clients to develop products to help the company. One example of this, I worked for a dance company called Alice Gorilla. She wanted to have trophies for dancers. So I was able to utilize some machines like the laser cutters and utilize computer applications like CorelDRAW to make these trophies and to help her promote her company. Another example is Batch. Batch was an ice cream company that wanted to promote their ice cream to people. So I also utilized the laser cutter and in these computer applications to make pins for them as well. Another internship was I also interned at the Connecticut DOT. This time was different because it was during the COVID pandemic, so a lot of things were different. I had to be able to cope with them, so I wasn't able to really get the full experience as before if COVID did not exist. But I was able to take a tour around the building, learn how to file tax returns, and get more into the office experience. As a child, I really wanted to know what the office experience was like. So I've been very grateful that I've been able to. As also with these past internships, I've been able to develop my confidence throughout my years of high school. This confidence I was able to interview for Pratt & Whitney. I believe this one was one of my biggest challenges of my high school. I had never done an interview before, and at the time I was very nervous, and I couldn't consider if I was going to do well or not. But I was able to get through it, and I was able to pretty much make a good presentation of myself. As for this senior year, I have been able to take college classes at Goodwin University. These college classes included mainly they were focused on engineering, including blueprint data and CNC machining. I have to say I was very interested in the CNC machining. I've been able to pick it up pretty easily. I've been able to pretty much have fun with it as well. And I can show you right now for an example. I have been able to CNC my initials, if you could see correctly. I've been able to CNC my initials on a Street Factory's metal block. And I have to say I really enjoyed the experiences. I have been able to really join my friends as well. I believe ReadyCT is a very positive community. I've been able to learn and take internships with friends, and I believe they really help develop me as a person, especially with my confidence. I believe if I had not been in ReadyCT, I don't think I would be able to have this personality and this confidence like how I had before. But yeah, once again, I would like to thank ReadyCT for helping me develop as a person. I look forward to developing my career in engineering, and I really hope to see what the opportunities will take me to.
Thank you, Kevin. Next, I want to introduce Miss Joanna Schlee Marquez. She graduated from Hartford High last year. She's the class of 2020, and she is currently a freshman at UConn.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. Can you guys hear me? Hi. Okay.
Yes.
My name is Joanna Schlee Marquez. As Betsy mentioned, I am a freshman at UConn. I'm just here to talk about my internship experiences. So my first internship was at City Hall. I worked at the grant application office, and in this internship, my main projects were engaging in informal and formal meetings where I documented discussions, and I also organized grant applications and added the info data into spreadsheets. And I also disposed of dead files that weren't really necessary anymore. And so from these projects, I learned how to effectively work with Microsoft Office and gain organization skills, which I think helped me further on when I did my other internships. And I also got the amazing opportunity to meet the mayor and attend one of his meetings, and that was very cool. And so although I did some tedious tasks like shred paper at City Hall, I think the internship was a stepping stone for me. as it allowed me to gain Microsoft skills for future internships. And I also got a recommendation letter from one of the members in the application office, which was very nice. My second internship was at Prime Whitney. I did this internship with a close friend. His name was La'a too. And our main projects were validating product codes. And so these product codes were to help the health and safety team understand like make sure the substances in the facilities are under control. And we also updated chemical warnings on spreadsheets and assisted in safety inspections. And that was my favorite project because we actually got to go to the workshops and look at the crew members working on the machines. And our main project were to make sure the cabinets and the machinery were bolted down to the floor, as it's a safety hazard. And I think that was very, very nice experience for me. And this internship was very different from City Hall. So it was just a nice experience overall. And I also got the opportunity to speak in front of the vice president of the health and safety team, which was very nervous. I was very, very nervous, but it was a nice experience because I got to represent myself and also work on my presentation skills. My third internship was actually at ReadyCT. I worked with Betsy and Gloria, and I assisted them in identifying and recruiting new eligible students. And it's funny because when I first met Betsy and she introduced me to the opportunities and that she was giving our school, I quickly asked for applications and I sent them around the school because I just felt like as a former Harvard Public student, I felt as that was important to reach out to other students and let them know that they have the option to be a part of these internships. And yeah, and I got to build a very strong connection with Betsy, and she taught me to be my own boss, and she provided me with all these amazing opportunities, and I can't be more thankful for it. My fourth internship was at Real Arts Ways. I worked with Tina. I think she's in the meeting. My main job, I also worked with La'a too on this. We both got accepted. And our main jobs were to reach out to kids in the community and get involved in the positive art and art programs that Real Arts Ways offered. And our main project was to give out to the kids. And so we created gift bags that contained art supplies, books, maracas, and many more fun supplies. But due to COVID-19, we couldn't do these projects with the students. So we were outside and we offered parents to sign up for online classes. And so in these online classes, we would do the drawings with them, which I thought was very, very cool. And so one big takeaway from this internship was that I got to reach out to my community in a time of need. And I also my favorite part was going around the neighborhood and having the instrumental group from the Real Arts Ways play music, and you can see the parents and the students in the buildings shaking their maracas, which I thought was very, very, very fun. But overall, all these internships are all uniquely different, but they all contributed to the development of the skills that I possess today. And as I mentioned earlier, I attend UConn, and I can truly say that these internships help me expand and broaden my knowledge on the resources that I can obtain. And so I work now at the Academic Achievement Center at UConn, and I will keep reaching out for more opportunities that come my way as I further my majoring in nursing as well. And I couldn't be more thankful for my experiences that I gained.
Thank you, Joa. So I want to say a last thank you to Kim, Joa, Brahila, and Kevin for sharing your amazing experiences with us today. So I know we're running a little close on time here, but I want to introduce two of our three advisory board chairs, Mr. J.O. Goncalves from Travelers and Dave Smith from Pratt & Whitney. So J.O.?
Hello, good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for this opportunity, and it's really great to hear from the students there and hear about their internship experiences. I would like to share a little bit about Travelers and our involvement with Weaver High School and partnership that we have. That's a 10-year partnership that started with High School Inc. And in the last year or so, they've been able to merge into Weaver High School in Hartford. So I'm a director at Travelers and a claim auto product development team. So I'm responsible for our auto and digital self-service strategies. I've been with Travelers for over 25 years. And one of the reasons why I've been with Travelers so long, it's really because of my personal values. I really line up very well with the values at Travelers. And for me, it's very personal. It's a very simple concept that giving to others, you will receive in return. I really believe that in so many ways. On my personal life, and Travelers has experienced that as well. The more we give to our community, the more we're getting back in return. So if you think of like Travelers, we have a very corporate focused mission statement. It's called Create Shareholder Value. On its own, you may think that sounds like it's all about money, but embedded in that is the purpose. There's a purpose, and that purpose is a promise. And that Travelers' promise is taking care of our customers, our communities, and each other. Because of that mission and purpose, we promote the interests of all stakeholders. We're also contributing to another important why, and that's inclusive prosperity. So really in that concept that together we all will be better. So one of our strategic priorities is to attract, develop and retain high potential entry-level talent to build an enterprise talent pipeline. So our partnership with Weaver High School Insurance Finance Pathway is a partnership that Travelers and we're really proud of that partnership. So we want to connect with our local students, let them know that our local companies, that there are local companies, their own backyards that's looking to give them an opportunity. Companies like Travelers, we have very diverse career opportunities that a lot of students in the area may not be aware of. So you don't have to be an insurance major. It's very hard to find an insurance major at insurance company, believe it or not. There are very few of us here at Travelers that I'm aware of. You may want to, even if you're interested in like a career in marketing, psychology, communications, want to be a lawyer, a nurse, accountant, engineer, like all of those careers, they fit very nicely at Travelers or with other insurance companies in the area. So with my role as the co-chair of the industry and the Insurance and Finance Advisory Board at Weaver High School, we have a strategic plan with 4 goals. And the goals do line up very nicely with the Hartford Public School Career Pathways core tenets that Justin talked about earlier. We were partnering and working together with that. But the main goals are, one is to connect our classroom learning to industry. So this is done through industry guest speakers, assisting with the curriculum, supporting a capstone project, and participating in project-based learning. We also provide, the second goal is to provide college and career readiness experiences for all the students. This would include internships, career fairs, conduct interview prep sessions, and tour our Travelers campuses, and also doing some job shadowing. The third one is to provide support for the pathway students. The biggest component of this is one-on-one mentorships, and we're right in the middle process of launching a new mentorship program where our industry partners will serve as the mentors for the students. And the last goal is to ensure students have opportunities to earn industry credentials, in post-secondary credit. So we partner here with ReadyCT and Naf to ensure that each of the students that are in the pathway, they have the right curriculum in place and they achieve their Naf certification. So we have a big support and a partnership all the way up to our CEO, Alan Schnitzer. He's actually on the board with ReadyCT. So we're definitely committed and all in. Really excited to share that. We had an internship last summer. There's a project that my team worked on called the Virtual Visit Tools, kind of like a FaceTime-like interaction with our customers. We actually had our students in an internship. They had a chance to demo the product, look closely at it, and give us some recommendation feedback on it. I mean, there was some real feedback they gave to us, and we don't have that younger person's perspective, and they were able to provide us some awesome feedback that we're looking at incorporating into the product. So we're giving to the students, and the students are definitely giving back. So any company that's out there, you're looking to partner and looking to offer internships, you definitely get a lot out of it. And not only do you get out of it from a company where you could benefit from the resources, assistance that they could provide, but you also getting a lot of increasing from employee engagement. Because employees in our companies, they look at, wow, look at all the great stuff that Travelers or other companies are doing within our communities that that we work in, we're really truly servicing and giving back in our communities. And I think that creates a lot of equity, human resource equity within a company. So I'm really proud to be part of Travelers and all the great things that we do here in our partnerships with a lot of other companies that that involve. And we're currently in the other partnerships we have that's part of our members that make up our industry advisory board. Along with Travelers, we have the Hartford, KPMG, Morgan Stanley, Prudential, United Health Group. And then we have other partnerships with like University of Hartford, Capital Community College, and we also have our other co-chair is a member of the Connecticut IFS cluster. So we have plenty of partnerships there. I know I'm probably a little bit over time, but a lot of great things that I want to share with you all. So thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Thank you, Jo. Dave Smith.
Well, good morning. And I'll start by saying, Betsy, you have permission to give me the hook if I run over. Because I have a couple things to say. First and foremost, in any case, business or otherwise that you're trying to make, the best evidence is eyewitness or testimonial. And I have to say, Rahelia, Kevin, Don Ashley, amazing. Okay, amazing. You are the evidence. You are the proof that when we engage students with opportunities for work-based learning, you are the proof positive product that it works. It has an effect. It's transformative. There is growth, there's development, and most importantly, there is preparation. And I've got to say, when I see Justin talk about the very elements that we've been advocating through the Naf model for years, and speak of it as being a part of the new infrastructure for Hartford public school system, it just connects. Okay, I see clear connectivity, because when you have this work-based learning experience, it prepares you for career and or college. Okay. And I think that's really the essence of what we're talking about here. And like I said, I can go on and on about you guys, because you guys in the early morning started to try to bring tears to my eyes. So awesome, awesome job. And so to the folks on the call who are contemplating interns or thinking about interns, I could only damage the product by trying to add to what these students have provided this morning. And so all I say is just stay fixated on them and look at what you would get. And it's really a credit to ReadyCT, the folks that we have working as program work-based learning developments within the schools. The model works. It prepares our students. Betsy and Gloria and the other ones in program, they do such a great job in preparing the students because they know what industry needs. And they listen. And, at the beginning, Shannon mentioned that I had the privilege this summer, several months, to work with the governor's workforce development strategy team. And we were focused, the sub-team was focused on work-based learning. And I would say the aha moments was when we started to connect with education. And education had the opportunity to hear firsthand from industry, guys, you guys are teaching. Yes, college is important. Yes, you want to do all the things that measures college acceptance, but we've got jobs in Connecticut and we've got a pipeline to fill. And the skills you're dropping these kids off with are not getting it done. And so we need to rethink that model and prepare students for whether it's stackable credentials, but it's the tangible skills. And when Joanna actually talks about being in the shop and touching this, hopefully she can resonate that the shop that she saw at Pratt wasn't the shop 30 years ago that many parents fear sending their kids to work. It's a modernized, well-equipped, automated factory. And so really a lot to be said for really giving thought to taking on these students. They come well prepared. And because we've listened to you, we will tailor. The curriculum is already tailored to meet what industry needs. So as someone with a small business, medium-sized, or large business, you want a great experience. You want to put some fire in your team during the summer, bring on these interns, because when we have them at Pratt, they lighten up the summer. I just tell you right now, hands down, they bring a light that you don't see, an energy and excitement. And we want to hear from that generation. We're in the middle right now so I'll give you a quick example. So prior to COVID, Pratt as an organization probably had less than 1% working from home. We are shifting to over 50% will likely be working from home in the new design. How the heck do we get there? You know, the minds of some young people might help us think through some cool things that might be important as we try to transform. So having them at the table and having them part of the experience is critical. And, you know, I see Ted and Marianne, the Galicki's have been tremendous in just partnering with providing internships, paid internships. We want to use every single one of those. And so if you're thinking about it, you know, you have students that, or you're thinking about an opportunity, you know, please consider one of these students for it. And if you can't do it, reach over to your other, you know, company owner or company leader and see if they might be interested, but pay it forward. And one last thing, and I must comment on it because Joanna Ashley, I must applaud your effort to pay it forward. And you're so aware of your peers and you're so aware of your community, and you take steps to make sure that they're also included. So continue to pay it forward. Thank you all. But really, I'm going to shut up now because I can go on and on. But thanks.
All right. Thank you, Jo, and thank you, Dave. I think you wrapped it up really well for us. So I want to respect people's time. It is 9:32, so if you do have to log off, this meeting is being recorded, and we will share that with you and the Power Deck as well. But in a minute, I want to talk about what I do with the students at Hartford High. I provide, so early in the year, Gloria and I, my colleague, recruit students for our specific internship program. And I work during the school year. I meet with all grade levels once a week. So every Monday, I meet with 11th graders. And every week, we touch on a specific subject and topic that is for workplace readiness. So I make sure that students understand how valuable workplace communication skills are, that they do, you know, they have their goal settings. We do Microsoft Office training, and we also do time management and interviewing skills, and there's a slew of other topics that we cover with the students. Our goal is to get the work ready for you in the summer or spring, depending on the internship that timing. So with that said, and I could go on what I do and I love to do with the students, that's what we do in a nutshell. That's what I do with them to get them ready for you. And I am always involved, especially in the summer, making sure that students are doing what they need to do to have a productive and meaningful internship. So at this time, we want to move over to the roundtable discussion. We have a panel of members of which are current employers that we work with that have hosted interns in the past, and they've hosted interns in person, they've hosted interns hybrid during COVID, and they've also hosted interns virtually during COVID. So it is possible. You are able to host interns in a variety of different platforms. So I would like
Betsy, can I just two quick things? I'm going to get us off the PowerPoint deck real quick, but I did want to make reference. We do have a link in here to a sample of the employers who have hosted students in the past. Many more than this are on the list, but we wanted to provide an illustrative example of who's participated. And it is far ranging. As we mentioned at the beginning, we try our best to align the internship with the career pathway theme, but sometimes it's a little bit more expansive. It's kind of something more directly connected to broader STEM and employability skills development. And it's very much about a match. It's a match between the employer and the student's interests. And then the rest of the deck includes a number of photos. We have kind of a photo montage of the past couple of years. And you'll notice that in a lot of the photos, there are students and faculty or employers and our team wearing masks and taking all the precautions necessary for COVID, which we will continue to take very seriously. I do want to mention that we do always provide significant support in terms of just making sure we're preparing students for safety. So we're always talking to that as a part of the orientation. the last thing I want to mention, and I'm going to stop sharing, is that you heard from Jo and you heard from Dave, who are the Industry Advisory Board chairs at Weaver and Hartford High. We are also joined by Darwin Kovacs, who's the Industry Advisory Board chair at Pathways Academy. So we have a representation of all three programs here, and just wanted to thank Darwin for being here today. And I will now shut up and turn it back to Betsy.
Thank you, Shannon, for that. All right, so for our panel, for our Q&A, we have several, like I mentioned, several employers. So I didn't see any questions in the chat box. So I want to open it up now. You know, you can unmute yourself and ask your question. Somebody has a question? So I do have some preset questions that I will ask, just in case you're wondering. You know, I don't really have a question, but you might be thinking of something. So I want to address this specific question to Erin Bartram. She works with the Mark Twain House and Museum. Erin, you were a new employer with us this summer, and how was your experience hosting Michael over the summer?
It was wonderful. I am the school programs coordinator, so if nothing else, I sat through lockdown watching my calendar say, you would have had 200 students visiting today. You would have had a high school from such and such. She was the first student I got to teach since this all started. So it was very important for me. For me, transitioning to virtual was not a huge challenge because I had already had to set up a Google Suite for nonprofits, because that's the way I would have to interface with educational institutions safely. Anyway, Zoom is often not viable, but the project we had planned was for Michael to curate an exhibit and build an exhibit case. And she did that in 4 weeks. We sort of structured it so that she and I did a lot of the front end work and the research. You know, I was able to scan things and share them with her. We did that virtually. And then we had very specific times she could come in, and she and our curator and I could work distanced in the actual collections space. So it was actually much easier than I thought it was going to be for such a hands-on kind of a project. And I'll drop into the chat. I also built a little website, or a little web page on our site to kind of showcase the work that she did. I don't think anyone would imagine that case was curated by an intern in a month when she couldn't even be on site most days. But I'll just say, like, that was possible. So lots of things are possible.
Thank you, Erin. So Angie asked, Angie, how many interns per organization do you have? Do you work with employers to help us develop the curriculum or design the internship? So Angie, are you referring to how many interns can an organization have, a business have? You could have as many as you want. I mean, it all depends on the projects that you're trying to build for them, the number of departments you have. So we've had some employers host 1 intern, and we've had employers host 5 interns, and they were probably in different departments. So that is completely up to the employer. In terms of projects, developing a project for them or a curriculum, yes, myself and I know my ReadyCT team will be here to help you create that, and helping you through that process of creating a project that's going to be bring value to your company. I hope that answered your question. If you still have more questions, you have my phone number. You could reach me, and I'll make sure that I also put my email address in the chat box for you. So next question, I wanted to send it off to Michael Murphy from the Connecticut General Assembly. Michael, what organizational strategies did you have to put in place before your intern started working, or both 2 years, because you had 2 interns, started working with you, and they actually shifted as well to a virtual internship?
Yes. Good morning, everyone. Sorry I'm overdressed. I have another meeting at 10. Yes, last summer we had an entirely virtual internship with 2 interns through the program. I got the pleasure of seeing them twice in person. That was giving them the laptops in June and then retrieving the laptops back in August. Otherwise, it was entirely virtual. Organizationally, we made sure our technology was ready to work with them and that we had a plan to work together and to collaborate. So that involved giving them a laptop, but then doing all of our work on Google Docs or canva.org. We did some infographics, and that's another internet-based product that you can use. That all worked very well. We had frequent meetings. We used Zoom a lot, at least twice a week. I think the most surprising thing to me, though, was how well the 2 interns worked together. So we had a few projects from the start, and then we added projects as time went on. But they worked together very well. They collaborated very well. I encouraged that and try to communicate very effectively. And I think it worked very well. And I think they were happy and had a good experience and contributed to our organization.
Thank you, Michael. My next question is for Mark Holberg from Makerspace CT. Mark, what type of projects did you have your summer interns work on? What projects did you develop for them?
Hey, good morning, everyone. Well, every day things are different at Makerspace CT. We never really know what we're going to get involved in here. Over the summer, we had some equipment coming in that needed assembly, a tabletop router, a couple storage cabinets, a bunch of workbenches. We're always shifting, always moving. So always the night before, I took 20 minutes out of my day, came up with a game plan for what these students were going to do the next day, kind of just jotted it down. And as soon as they came in, I said, here's the game plan for today. I recommend, what Michael mentioned, having 2 interns was important, 2 or more, because these are 2 kids from completely different backgrounds and they barely knew each other coming in. I said, like it or not, you guys are working together. This is going to be awesome. And they did just that. They followed the plan. They assembled furniture. They made some repairs on some 3D printers that we needed done that I knew they could handle. I started slow with the list of tasks because I wasn't really sure. It was our first time diving in with these students. And I realized something that I thought was going to take all day took them 2 hours. So I started throwing more at them. And I mentioned in the chat early on that these kids are way more capable than I thought going in. I work with high school kids quite a bit, from Boy Scouts. I've got some teenagers at home, and they don't have a choice. These kids were brought up making and building things, right? They just have a choice because that's my world. I didn't know what these kids were capable of, but they were willing to work. They worked really hard, and the follow-up with Betsy and the visits kept everyone moving. So great support from ReadyCT. We were thrilled to have them. As a matter of fact, we put together a program, and they're working now 10 hours a week on Wednesday nights and all day Saturday, where I have 4 of them now working together using computer-aided design. So we created an entire office just for them, socially distant with shielding. They all have their own computer stations, and they're doing 3D modeling for us now. So what really, really sparked the excitement around our shop over the summer, we worked hard trying to figure out how can we get these kids better engineering skills? How can we really step up the game? And they've impressed us so far. Every Saturday, every Wednesday, they're here and just creating and working hard. So that's 4 students all working together. And our instructor, he's pretty hands-off. He comes in, he makes sure that they're they're doing their job, they have their game plan. He can walk away for 4 or 5 hours, come back, and they've really stepped it up. So kudos to our seasoned students that work with us. They're now showing and leading these other young kids that are freshmen and sophomore into the program and showing them the way. So super successful here. We're psyched to have them.
Thank you, Mark. So we have a question from Daphne, and I'm actually going to ask Dave if you could answer this question. Daphne would like to know, how much do businesses rely on credentials, certifications to confirm the skills they need? Is it specific to industry as to the reliance on credentials and certifications?
I think it does. It plays a part depending on the industry, obviously, right? And depending on the skill. So if I just speak from the perspective of Pratt, okay? Because that's the closest one. I've worked in chemical and pharma industry, but right now I work in aerospace. And so depending on the skill needed for that job, if you're looking for engineers, then obviously we want credentialed graduates with at least an undergraduate in their respective engineering disciplines. That's typically, where a professional is going to come in. But we understand the pathways for getting there. In many situations, folks coming into Pratt and coming through an entry-level job can finish their education and then can achieve at that education level ready for that particular skill. If it's one of our production associates, then depending on the skill for that job, if they're going to be a certified machinist or an AP mechanic or something of that nature, well, certifications will play a role in that. If they're going into accounting or EHS and all of those, it varies, right? So credentials does play a part, but it's typically, if it's a hands-on, I would say, trade type work, the credentials are going to prove that you have the hours of experience and demonstrated capability to perform the work. And so credentials there makes a difference. If you're moving into the professional ranks, then you're going to supplement that after achieving a certain level of mastery in that particular field. You achieve that credential that speaks to your knowledge and experience. So in general, it varies, but when we're talking about, interns, we see the opportunity to get them the exposure. They know what, they have the desire. So that's the what part. At Pratt, we say, you tell us, they come with the what, we show you the how. So by giving them exposure to adults, in the workspace, like someone says, what the office environment or shop environment, that exposure helps them to be able to determine if there's a particular path that resonates or that draws them. And so it prepares them for going to college with success because they understand sort of what is necessary, because they've seen it, because they've been mentored, because they've been coached by someone in the professional ranks on the job. So that was a long-winded response to the question, but I want to center it back to, if we're thinking about interns, the exposure and the experience to work-based learning is what's proven to be one of the most effective ways of helping them to understand really what might be what they really want to do and maybe how to get there. Okay.
Thank you, Dave. My next question is actually for William from CPAM and Brihelia, who were, so Brihelia was CPAM's intern this past summer. So it's nice to have both of them on this call. So William, what strategies did you use to help Brihelia, one, fit into your organization and also help her achieve her project goals? And then Brihelia, I would like you to discuss, how did William and CPAM staff help you, build on your confidence to be able to successfully do a virtual internship?
Okay, thanks, Betsy. Good morning, everybody. And hi, Brihelia. I told Betsy when we were prepping for this, I was excited that we were the only matched set on the panel this morning. To a certain degree, the strategies that we had to employ were not all that dissimilar from the strategies we had to employ for the rest of the staff pivoting to remote work. We had a couple of advantages going in because our normal operating model has us coordinating across 3 job sites. So we were already doing some virtual work. I had staff members who were already researching using Zoom for delivering distance learning. So when the pandemic kind of dropped and we had to move virtual in a hurry, we had some building blocks in place. Brihelia had the misfortune of being the first new employee we had to onboard in a remote environment. So I think orientation and getting her up and running presented a little bit of a challenge because it was a case of first impression. But I think a big advantage is that kids of this generation are raised on technology to a certain degree, and Brihelia was technology savvy enough that she didn't need help getting into her email. She didn't need all that much help figuring out the time clock system and all of the really the nuts and bolts of getting somebody set up to work. As far as the day-to-day responsibilities went, when we've done this internship program in the past, and this was our second year doing it, we had gone in with a real focus on integrating our intern into the staff. So they attended meetings, whether they were germane to their responsibility whenever they could. I personally took them to all the job sites and introduced them around. A lot of that wasn't an option in this instance, but we did make sure that we moved a lot of Zoom meetings so that Brihelia would be able to attend. Kate Kors, her immediate supervisor, and she spent a lot of time during the day in contact, and we really kind of cherry picked projects that we knew she could be successful at within the constraints that she had. She mentioned earlier in the morning being shown how to use Adobe Photoshop, but not really getting a chance to actually use it because she wasn't in the same space as Kate. So we were able to build some projects for her that revolved around more social media stuff, more database integration for a lot of direct mailings that we do, that she had the tools for. But I think it was a combination of a little bit of trial and error at the outset, trying to identify what was realistic within the time that we had, and just everybody being prepared to go into it being adaptive and to maintain a certain sense of humor, because we were all in the same situation where we were trying to find the new normal when we were used to working a certain way. And from my experience and from what Kate shared with me, Brihelia was a trooper. She pivoted when she needed to pivot, and we figured it out together.
Hi again. So I want to say that during my internship, I think it was new for everyone. So communication was really important. I had to say, okay, this is what works for me, and Kate would say this is what works for us. We had to be in contact a lot. We meet every day for like 30 minutes just to discuss what we'd be doing for the day and how we go about everything. Since this was remote, all of our work was online, so I really got to learn about marketing online, and I had to email different organizations asking them to promote different events. That was kind of nerve-wracking for me because I usually hated sending emails. But I think that I didn't feel like I was missing out on anything by working remotely. A lot of times Kate was like, okay, this is how you do it, and then I would go off and then try it for myself. So I feel like it was I wasn't really spoon-fed or like she was holding my hand the whole time. Like, she taught me and then said, go off on your own and try it out. And I think that really helped me.
Yeah, I think our experience both times, one real and one virtual, is that we were holding the intern's hand more than the other way around, because they, to your credit, Betsy, and to the credit of the program, they come to these assignments super prepared and professional beyond what you would expect of a 17, 18-year-old. And Mark said it a couple of minutes ago. You give them an assignment that you think is at least a half-day project, and they're back in a half an hour saying, "I'm done," and it's perfect. So a lot of what our 2019 internship looked like was our office manager trying to say she did a week's worth of projects in a day. Now I have to figure out what else we can do with her, and that's a good problem to have. And it doesn't sound uncommon based on the conversations I've heard this morning.
Thank you, William and Brahelia. My last question is actually for Phil and Trevor from iQuilt. So Phil and Trevor, hosting an intern is more than just having them work on a project. How did you help your interns in the last 2 years build on their networking, communication, and interpersonal skills? And how did you also mentor them during this past summer in a COVID environment?
Sure. So if you don't know iQuilt, we are sort of boosters for a lot of civic and cultural organizations here in the city. And so as an organization, one of our desired outcomes is to essentially make evangelists of the city of Hartford and its assets. And so we typically, a lot of our interns end up doing like marketing or sort of community organizing projects. But we always have sort of had a really big point to not only engage them with the assets here in the community, but then also sort of help them see themselves as an asset in the community. And so Trevor has a lot of great examples of really how we do that, but essentially like in giving them the opportunity to engage with like C-suite executives at people in our network, helping them build their network and prepare for things like the Common App, getting their LinkedIn profile set up, just so that it's not just an internship where we're gaining and that they're sort of gaining experiences within our industry, but also we just really feel it's a natural extension of the work that we do to help them get set up in their own careers.
Yeah, just to discuss that a little further. So Phil and I worked with 3 interns this year, and then we had 1 the previous year. And we've done a lot, like he said. This year, all of our interns were seniors, so we worked with them throughout the summer to prepare for the Common App. We worked with like simple things like talking to teachers to get recommendations and how to fill it out and all of the things that they needed. We brought them to the public library and showed them how to use those resources, and we made sure each of them had a library card. And we really tried to expose them to the different cultural assets in the Hartford community, because that's something that we deal with a lot at iQuilt. So we did different things like bringing them to the parks, bringing them to like Keeney Park sustainability. We brought them to we went to Dunkin' Donuts Park one day because they had a lot of questions about Dunkin' Donuts Park. So our boss was able to set up a meeting with Tim Ristal, and they were able to go there and learn all about the things that they wanted to learn about in their community. So we really tried to immerse them in Hartford and show them that there are all of these different assets available to them if they look. And we really tried to work with them to develop them and see where they want to go and the things that they want to learn while they're with us.
Thank you, Trevor and Phil. So at this point, we are almost done. So I want to say thank you to all of our panel members, our speakers, our interns for joining us today, as well as all of you for participating and joining us for this amazing meeting. We hope that we've convinced you to take on an intern or two, or think about it, and maybe not this year, but maybe next year. And there are other ways that you could also help. It's not just taking on an intern. There's other things that you can do as well to be a part of our school community. So I would like to, I don't know if Shannon or Cheryl or Ray or Gloria, Dave, Darwin, or Jo have any other last remarks. So I will be quiet.
I'm just going to last word, just a huge thank you to Betsy, Ray, Gloria, and Kevin, who are our program team for Hartford Public Schools. They are all fantastic and work with students day in and day out in terms of engaging and keeping students engaged and working in partnership with the school system and with the employers. And it is a skill that is quite remarkable. So just thank you to all of them, and thank you to everybody who made the time to join today. And we will definitely be following up.